I've had this feeling ever since that I first saw this announcement trailer, but I had to give it a little bit of a rewatch before I could fully understand the feeling here. I don't know, like 10 months later or whenever this officially came out. And I'm gonna be honest. I have some mixed feelings still about this trailer. If you guys remember, originally in this trailer is when this producer, pretty much at this point, was like, if you are new to the OCG or TCG, we recommend playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links or the Yu-Gi-Oh! Link Evolution game that's available on Steam. You should go try those games and then transition into Master Duel. And it got me thinking, there's always been this divide between Master Duel and Duel Links, right? If you ask someone, what are the two major differences between these games, they'll tell you, A, that one game has a bunch of anime, and B, the other game is supposed to be the competitive, more hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's not true. That's not what ended up happening. Actually, fun fact, Duel Links right now is currently the more competitive version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Compared to Master Duel. Now, obviously, Master Duel just had its Duelist Cup, and they're starting to take steps to make the game more competitive than what it's supposed to be. But as of right now, for the first 8 months that the game has been out, Duel Links has been the more competitive game. And even though Duel Links is the quote unquote anime game, it still has its competitive elements. If you go into, obviously, they've had way more worlds. We're actually about to have worlds next weekend, next Saturday. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds event will be happening. Community tournaments have insane signups compared to Master Duel tournaments. If you look at pretty much any tournament organizer right now, if you compare their Master Duel signups versus their Duel Links signups, Master Duel always has less than Duel Links. I believe personally our weekly GG Tour series, which is a free tournament, $500 on the line. There's always double the amount of Duel Links players than there are Master Duel players. And just in general, yes, while there's a huge anime emphasis in Duel Links, and it's definitely the most important part of Duel Links, you can't really just ignore the competitive aspect of Duel Links. Saying things for those who are new to OCG, TCG, go play Duel Links. Well, Burning Abyss was meta for quite a while, for almost 3-4 months now in Duel Links, and that was definitely a TCG OCG deck that if you had experience from TCG OCG, you had a slight competitive edge when that deck first came out, as no one really knew how to play the deck until those players that played it in TCG played the deck and showed everyone how to play those decks. So while Konami is saying one thing, they actually did completely the opposite with Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which is why I specifically think they need to do the opposite with Master Duel. They went out of their way to not put any anime into Master Duel, and I think that's ultimately now hurting them. I think they need to start, thinking about putting a little bit of the anime into Master Duel. They don't have to convert it completely and make it, put skills, put all that. We don't need all that. But take the events that we have, for example. All of the events have boiled down to more or less the same thing. You play the ranked mode, but you lose an extra deck mechanic, right? It's not exactly like every event has been the same. They're all the same exact event, same exact structure. You lose one extra deck mechanic, or you lose something to make it slightly interesting, I guess. And that ultimately always boils down to, I'm going to play True Draco with whatever floodgates are available, because I don't really care. I'm here for the gems. It would be more interesting. Also story mode. Story mode has been a huge lackluster part in Master Duel. Both story mode and the events could benefit greatly from the anime. In events, you could have specific, like raid bosses. Like if you look at the Duel Links events, the raid bosses, the turbo duels, the blah, 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 different ways to actually play the game that are all irrelevant. No one really cares about them in the end of the day, but it's fun to play them for a little bit and then go back to normal Yu-Gi-Oh! After a week or two. Same with the story modes. Yes, I guess it's cool that we have the story modes, but they're not that long and they're not that interesting, right? Every bit of story is like a couple of sentences and that's about it. It would be cooler if literally there was like a story duel that you got to play out, right? Like think of all the amazing story duels, Yugi versus Kaiba, right? And you can use Yugi's official deck and you go up against a Kaiba AI that's using Kaiba's original deck, and you end up playing like that. This would also be very easy for them to implement because it already exists in the Link Evolution game. So it would not be that difficult to kind of introduce into Master Duel, and instead of having me grind, endlessly against PvP players or whatever for events or story modes, I can just go do that. And boom, like that'll give me my reward, and it would encourage people to potentially go purchase Link Evolution if they want more of that style of PvE, because you come in as a free to play player for Master Duel, you go out and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go purchase Link Evolution now, and actually keep playing that type of content if that's something they enjoy doing. You could also include things like mates and stuff, right? The mates, the little pets, the interactable boards, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but it'd be cool to have like a little Kaiba or a little Joey there. You click them, you get voice lines, whatever you want, blah blah blah. I just think at the end of the day, Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime is so closely related to the card game, you really can't separate the two, right? Even someone like me who didn't really care about the anime at all until like I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! Still knew what the anime was and still knew kind of like the storyline behind it, even though I only watched it passively as a child. I really feel that Yu-Gi-Oh! The anime and Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game just kind of go hand in hand, and you can't really separate the two, kind of the way that Master Duel is trying to do, and there's no reason to separate the two, is kind of the point that I'm trying to make as well. They tried to do this separation so people kept playing Duel Links for that anime aesthetic, and then Master Duel for that competitive hardcoreness. But they didn't really do a good job of separating them, because there is still high try hard competitive environments in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links that are just built into the game, right? We still have KC Cup, we still have Worlds, unless they plan on just, stopping those events outright. Those are still there. So why then, in this kind of exchange, did we just decide, you know what, we're not going to put the anime in Master Duel at all? Even though there are a lot of things, the events, the story mode, the cosmetics, just the aesthetic of the game, they decided, well, it's not going to get any anime whatsoever. I am happy to see that the game was successful at first without the anime. It was actually able to stand on its own as an actual TCG, OCG type of thing. But I do think now that, we're kind of homogenizing the two games and people are very clearly playing the two different games for two different purposes, it would be okay to add a little bit of anime to Master Duel. I think it would spice things up, give them more things to add to the game besides just, oh, I'm playing ranked mode, or oh, I have like 2 sentences to read about monarchs, or whatever the case may be. So Konami, Duel Links is a competitive game. You made it a competitive game. Please add a little bit of anime to Master Duel to spice things up. I love you boys. Thank you for watching. Until the next video, peace out.